You have, Mr. mentioned the question of compensation,
Yeah.
and compensation being applied against the original timetable. But don't you feel that in the light of this appalling situation, compensation could be more substantial than that, particularly for season ticket holders?
Indeed, and you will recall at PMQs, the previous Prime Minister made a commitment to Jeremy Quinn that we would look at how we could seek to do that. So I'm taking advice at the moment on the options that are available to me to offer an enhanced remuneration package. But my focus really has to be on resolving the problems on the network first, rather than diverting that focus on the issues of compensation. I want to save the need for compensation in the first place, but I'm waiting for advice on what further steps I can now take.
Right, thank you. That is very helpful. Mr. Stringer.
As I think I said earlier, my expectation is for GTR to incrementally improve the level of service to get the timetable back to the original timetable. I do not wish here and now at this stage to put a finite date on when I think that can be achieved. But my expectation from GTR is this to be done as speedily and effectively as possible without compromising either passenger safety or the integrity and reliability of the network.
That's not very reassuring for passengers, is it? Because it could mean a week or a year. Can you be more specific?
We are reviewing continually with GTR what is occurring. Initially, I think there was an intention that this timetable would be in place for a specific period, but I would, given the occurrences on the network over even the first 2 days I've been in post, I do not wish to offer false comfort to passengers over the speed at which this can be resolved. But I am absolutely certain that this needs to be resolved speedily, as is the Secretary of State.
I do sympathise with you, Minister, that you've not been in position very long, and you're quite unusual as a new appointment in the department to have some knowledge of transport. So I'm pleased to see you there. But if we can't define temporary, we'll just leave that definition on one side. What will you do if, when the temporary period is undefined is over, what will be the consequence if there is no resolution of this issue?
My expectation is that we are working very hard to resolve the issue.
I understand that, but if it doesn't, sometimes problems are not solved. If it is not solved, what action will you take?
Well, there will be a range of options that will be open to the department. We will want to judge the extent to which GTR is either in breach or in default of its franchise, but I don't think we're at that stage yet. Bernadette has more expertise over the fine detail of what triggers in the franchise may be occurring that would allow us to take further action.
I think, well, I will ask Peter to talk about the detailed triggers in this particular franchise, because obviously they are particular to individual franchises. But I think I would repeat very firmly what the Minister has said. The thing we are very much focused on at the moment is ensuring that GTR are actually improving the performance and restoring the timetable
And
as soon
we
as they're
accept
able
that.
to
I'm
do
just
so.
trying to find out if things go pear-shaped, or remain pear-shaped, I suppose is the right word, what the consequences are.
Well, ultimately there are conditions in their contract that would require the department to take action.
What are those conditions?
So there are two particular conditions that invoke intervention by the department. One is what we call breach, which is where the contractor breaches its a certain number of targets or obligations in the contract with us, and at that point, as we have done with the GTR franchise, we can require a remedial plan to be put in place that restores the performance or the obligations in question. Failure to deliver that remedial plan, if deemed to be the responsibility of the operator and a willful neglect on their part, would lead to what we call a condition of default. And it's at that point that we would be exploring our options in relation to the future of that franchise.